Welcome to dinner party tonight. This is my yodeling pickle. It was a present from my cousin Paul Cronson. Thanks, Paul. Today we're going to be making a summertime brunch. We're going to have some eggs Florentine, which are eggs Benedict with spinach. So we're gonna make Hollandaise, and don't be scared, just use a blender, it's very easy. And we're going to have a very, very cute potato presentation called Potatoes Parisienne, or Parisienne potatoes, which are really, really simple and fun and super cute and beautiful. And we're going to have a citrus tart for dessert with a saltine crust. Remember saltines when you used to actually get them when you were sick? I don't know, you guys are probably too young. Saltines and ginger ale. It has a sad taste of saltine, but it's really good in a crust. Sad, emotionally sad, not sad, lame. Saltines. Take one for the team, saltines. And guess what? How bizarre, we're going to make some cocktails. We're going to make something I like to call an Iceland Bloody Mary, which I'll tell you why. And we're going to make a Kir and a Kir Royale, my sister's former favorite drinks. So you're gonna find out how easy and simple and fun that is to serve at your summertime brunch. Atlantic Beach Lemon Tart. So David Schaefer makes this flawlessly every single time. Now I made the magic of television one yesterday, and to say it's not flawless, as my mother would say, would be to say nothing at all. So today I thought, and you'll see the magic of television one is round. This one is, I'm gonna use a rectangle. This is helpful, but not necessary. You're gonna use saltines. You go like this. Pretty difficult. You're making basically like a graham cracker crust, and honestly, you could use graham crackers if you wanted. It says a sleeve and a half in some recipes, and in some recipes it says a sleeve. So, I don't know. So I'm gonna put in a sleeve and an eighth. Don't turn it into dust, okay? So we're gonna pulse it instead of running it. You want sort of... It's okay if there's still a few big pieces. A little bit of dust, but it's okay. Then you're gonna put in a stick of butter. Now, this is what holds the crust together. I'm gonna look at it, and we might put a little more. Some of the recipes say a stick and a half, and some of them say a stick. Cutting this in half. One on one side, one on to the. Okay, obviously needs more butter. And the reason I can tell is because it's still very dry. It needs more butter. A quarter stick more. I'm gonna do it bit by bit. I'm gonna press it into this mold. So all you're doing, because you're a dinner partier, is you're just thinking. You're looking at it and thinking, what consistency does it have to be pushed into a crust? I loved all your answers about people that gave you funny feelings in movies when you first saw them. Those were great. John Travolta came up several times in Saturday Night Fever. I think we could probably press that into a dough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put it in here, okay? All the way along. And then we're gonna deal with shaping it. Don't worry about getting this perfect. What you're just doing is trying to make it even Steven, okay? Now you wanna give the sides something to press up on, so put your thumb on the side so that it can press up. Turning, turning, turning. Keep that pie crust turning rawhide. I make a lot of noise in the house because I'll tell you, sounds sad, but it's not. When George, my dog from a few years ago, died, I realized after he died how I was saying to him constantly all day in the house, and I stopped singing. I guess that is sad. Sorry. Look at how perfectly I did this, you guys. It's amazeballs. Okay, now I'm just gonna freeze it. So the main thing, as we always say, is don't panic. Don't panic, George. You're gonna win, you're beautiful. Put this in the freezer. You remember when I said the thing about shouldn't we be doing more with condensed milk? So this is an example of the reason why condensed milk is amazing. Sorry to mention you again, David, but David says to use Carnation, not Eagle brand, because although they appear identical, he says that the Eagle brand produces a darker colored filling, like a brownish filling. So we're using Carnation, which contains milk and sugar, which is sweetened condensed milk. Basically reduced milk. We're going to use half a cup of lemon juice, a can of condensed milk, and 4 egg yolks. Whoa, look at that. Egg yolks. I was making a cake the other day and I missed out 1 egg. And I was like, what difference can it make? A lot of difference. I had to throw the cake out. 3, 4. But I'm just going to use this spoon. You want this to be fully homogenized. So a whisk wouldn't be a terrible idea. I'm now creating half a cup of lemon juice. But it's approximately 1.5 lemons for half a cup. Pinch of salt. Hefty. You're going to cook this in a 350 oven after you cook your crust until it's just set, which is approximately 12 minutes. Okay, we're going to set this aside, and then we're going to cook the crust. So here's the crust out of the freezer. I don't really have a lot of changes I want to make to this. Pretty happy with it. I'm going to put it in the same 350 oven for just until it's slightly colored, not 16 to 18 minutes like the recipe tells you. Just until it colors. Don't let it get toasted up, because you're also going to cook it with the filling. I'm going to let that cool. You could put this in the fridge if you wanted to speed up this process. It doesn't have to be cold, but you want it to be not boiling hot when you put the filling in. This might be perfect. I'm going to pour this in until it looks nice. You're just going to cook this until it's just set, which yesterday was approximately 12 minutes. When you jiggle the tart, the center almost still moves. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven for approximately 12 minutes, but because it's so narrow, it might even be less. I'm going to do it at 11 just to check. And now you can read the newspapers. Well, through the magic of television, I happen to have a tart right here that I made yesterday. It's slightly overset because I think I might have cooked it a teeny bit too long. If you can get the bottom thing off, get it off. If you can't, just put a little dab of whipped cream here so it sticks. And there you have Atlantic Beach Tart. Now, don't serve this warm. If you think about warm lemon condensed milk, you don't want that. After you bake it, let it cool and put it in the fridge until it gets cool. And then serve it up. Atlantic Beach Tart. This one has a lot of heart. I'm going to show you how to make this really cute potato dish called pomme parisienne. Now you told me you saw it spelled both ways. I did. So is it let me call Edgar. Edgar's fluent. It's pomme parisienne or pomme parisien. Let's see if Edgar knows.
Hello.
Edgar, it's Randall.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, baby. We're shooting the show, and I just wanted to ask you, because we're making pomme de terre parisienne or parisien, but is pomme de terre masculine or feminine? Is it parisien or parisienne?
It's Parisienne. It's feminine.
Okay, it's feminine, so it's pomme de terre. Say it for me.
Pomme de terre Parisienne.
Pomme de terre parisienne. Correct?
Oui.
Oui, merci beaucoup. The first thing you're going to do is peel your potatoes. Now, these are Yukons. You can be just as happy using russets. This is actually an experiment. We're going to peel most of them, but the other ones we're not going to peel. We're going to cut with a melon ball balls of potato. Now, what do you do with all the wasted potato? Well, you can use it for stock. You can put it in your compost. It does have waste involved. Now, in between, so it doesn't turn brown, I'm putting it in water. Now, what else does the water do? It pulls out the starch, so you get a crispier potato. We're not going to peel this one. I don't know if the water is going to penetrate it. I'm not sure, but we'll see. The first thing I'm going to do is take out a potato. I'm going to use this one first, the skinned one. So when we eat these after they shoot the pretty pictures, be aware that one of them wasn't skinned. See if it's better or worse, okay? Melon baller. I'm going to warn you, there's waste involved. Okay, so you're going to go like this. Always go all the way around. So it does have a flat side, but that's okay. Guess what? It goes back in the water for the same reason. Like you're actually going to film me doing this. Dry your peeled potato and ball. Ball the jack. Balling the jack means to go fast. I'll tell you one thing, this is easier to melon ball than the russet. So these are our pommes parisienne. See how the water is cloudy? That's because the starch is coming out, and this will make a crispier potato. I'm now going to dry these in a clean cloth, comme ça, and then putting them there. Now, when you're at this stage or before, you should put a very heavy frying pan in the oven at 350 or 400. This is a little low, actually. Let me turn this up. You want the potatoes to make a sound when they hit the thing. It's the same thing with like roasties, which is what these are, in a fancy shape. You're gonna put a little olive oil in the hot pan, and then you're gonna dump these in after we season them. Okay, seasoning consists of, what a surprise. Oh, let me put a little olive oil. A little olive oil. Salt Bay, you know Salt Bay? He opened a restaurant in LA. And he comes to your table and does it. You can put some little bit of thyme on here, or a little chopped parsley. Okay, going to the oven. Okay, I can smell the oil, which means this is perfect. So I'm just pulling this out. Oh yeah! How long do they cook for? 10 minutes, huh? Golden brown. Whoa, look at that. I'm just gonna drain these on a J-cloth or on a paper towel is fine, so that they're not super greasy. If you're timing your brunch in a certain way, you can sort of gently reheat them without the cloth so that they're not stone cold when you serve them with the eggs. But basically, that is Parisienne potatoes. How cute are those? We're going to make poached eggs. Florentine. That's simply poached eggs with spinach instead of ham. But we're also going to show you possibly just what the ham looks like. That's classic Eggs Benedict. The first thing we're going to do is tell you about damn good English muffins. Fans of Dinner Party Tonight. It's square. Boil some water in a big pot, and I'm going to show you two ways to poach an egg. One is without a silicone mold, and one is with a silicone mold. You have a nice big pot. I'm going to put a little bit of vinegar. Now, you know when you go to brunch and you get your eggs and they're very vinegary? It's because they put too much vinegar in the water. You just want a little bit of vinegar like this. Now, what does that do is it helps the egg white, or the albumin, coagulate better. And you don't want this boiling. You want it sort of like this to stay like that. And we're going to swirl it around. Now, when we swirl it around, we're creating a vortex. Now, I'm going to show you this, okay? The first time you do this, You might think it makes sense to put the egg on the outside of the vortex, okay, here, but you actually put the egg in the center of the vortex. Before you put the egg in, you crack it into a ramekin so the dropping of the cracked egg doesn't crack the yolk. So my favorite dinner in the world is eggy dinner, which is David makes poached eggs, and we have poached eggs with salad and avocado. Ooh. Swirling vortex. Pretty aggressive. Okay, and it's spinning around. See how it's spinning around on itself? That's exactly right. 3 minutes. Now what you may not know in restaurants is they take these out and they cut the tails so that they're perfect, okay? I'm just keeping it gently turning so that it continues to sort of attract itself and fold in on itself. So you can take it out, right? And you can sort of touch this. It's pretty soft, right? So I'm just touching it with my finger. I'm gonna let this one go for just a little bit longer. You wanna have a little rag to set them on. What they really do in restaurants is they cook them very rare. They put them all out on a tray, and then when you order your eggs Benedict, they pick it up and drop it in the water for a few minutes, you know? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, impact. Here it comes. So that's a fairly perfect poached egg right there, especially if you do this. I mean, that looks like a restaurant poached egg to me. All right, let's try this method. This is a silicone cup. You're gonna get a different looking egg with this, more uniform. So I'm just gonna float that in the water, and I'm gonna crack an egg carefully in here. Put a tiny bit of water in the base of the mold. Here we go. So you see, the other one turned white almost instantly. This one isn't. So there we go. That's pretty easy. There we go. We got 3 eggs. Now David put a lid on this and he actually submerged it by accident, and then we found out that it worked perfectly. The silicone mold was in the bottom. Yeah. I'm gonna wilt some spinach. It's very easy. Just go like that. Now, if you need a little liquid, you can use a tiny bit of white wine, which I don't have, but you're basically just barely cooking this. You could also, like, have this done and warm and ready for assembly, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do this while you're cooking the eggs. Just barely wilting. A little bit of salt. And once it gets like this, you can pretty much turn the heat off, because obviously it will continue to cook as the pan cools down. Hollandaise. You might be scared to make Hollandaise because you think it's this whole dripping with the whisk and everything, and it is. But everybody, including Julia Child, uses a blender. So pre-blender, you had to do it with a whisk. And honestly, like I say, with everything like that, pastry, etc., you should make it once, the old-fashioned way, and then you can make it the easy way. That's just my rule. So the first thing you're gonna do is 3 egg yolks. So 3 egg yolks, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna put in a little bit of lemon juice, approximately 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, which is that. I've melted some butter and skimmed off the white foam of the butter. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna run it, and as we run it, we're gonna emulsify this with the melted butter. So we're gonna start low, like this, a thin stream. Emulsifying, emulsifying, turning it up a little bit. So if you do this too fast, it'll split. The fat solids from the butter will separate and it'll look split, which it might be split, I don't know. Looks like hollandaise to me. I'm just gonna taste it for seasoning. And then I'm gonna put it in a little bowl and just keep it in warm water, essentially. Be careful. I'm just gonna go like this. Okay, now I'm literally going to sort of put this on top of some warm water. If you cook it, it will split. There we go. Okay guys, we're gonna assemble. Okay, I'm putting a little bit of butter just to make this like an incredibly luxurious, okay? And I'm gonna put some of this spinach on here. Oh yeah. We're gonna take our poached egg, which I'm gonna do this. Take the chill off of it, which is exactly what they do in the restaurant. I'm gonna place that. Oh, look at that. Come on now. And I'm gonna spoon some hollandaise on top. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now, the traditional Eggs Benedict, which is simply the same, well, this is a damn good English muffin, not a Thomas's, with a piece of Canadian bacon or two pieces of Canadian bacon, an egg of poachment dipped briefly in water, brief drain, lift in place, and hollandaise. Now you could do Florentine with the ham if you want. Some people put smoked salmon there, crack a little pepper on top. Why are we not doing this every day? A few of our Parisienne potatoes on the plate. Now you can cut a little parsley on the top of this if you want. And these are just like fancy home fries, really. I'm sorry, I'm really impressed with that. Bloody Mary, it's a meal in a glass. My niece, Elizabeth Sharp, Dr. Sharp, when she graduated medical school, I told her I would take her anywhere in the world she wanted to go. And she chose Iceland. It's an amazingly rugged place. And we went on this super Jeep ride, which I still have the card somewhere. It was just me and Elizabeth and the guide. Do you guys like to have a drink? And we're like, yeah. And he goes, okay, I'll take you to my friend's farm. And then we sit down at this little cafe, in the middle of the mountains in Iceland. And he says, do you want a Bloody Mary? And I said, yes. And the lady, who's his friend, goes 2 feet this way and pulls tomatoes from the vine in the glass house, right? And makes the Bloody Mary right at the table in a blender. So we're gonna do that, and it's fun. This will be slightly paler than a V8. So the first thing we're gonna do is just put 8 of these tomatoes, it's not tomato seasoning yet, but it's close enough for government work, into the blender, just like that. Look at this. This is called a boxwood basil. It smells stronger than regular basil. Okay, I'm just gonna cut a little piece. I'll keep the pretty ones for the top. I'm just gonna blend these. I'm gonna use a sieve, but I'm just gonna blend them. Horseradish. A lot, because I love it. Tabasco. I watched a really good documentary about Worcestershire sauce. And a little bit of lemon juice. I'm gonna put a piece of ice in here so it's real cold and just kind of like a slushy. It's a rather unfortunate color, which it didn't do in Iceland, but what can you do? I'm just straining it because there's a little bit of pulp in here. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. You know the Bloody Marys you get on the plane? Those are so good. Mrs. T's, baby. Oh, tastes so bright and yummy. Here's a little togarashi. A little ice. Now, I want you to encourage your friends to eat this, okay? It has the most insane flavor. I don't like the olive. Some people like the olive. I don't like the olive in there. All right. Tito's, made in America. I'll put a little bit of my little basil plant on top. It's a meal and a drink. My favorite. Have you ever gotten completely plastered at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? It's an interesting experience because you definitely go to sleep for 2 hours or so at like 4, and then you get up and you're like, I'm not gonna drink at dinner, but you do. We're gonna make a kheer and a kheer royale. Very, very simple drinks. So what is a kheer? A kheer is simply white wine with a splash of blackcurrant liqueur, AKA creme de cassis. And you'll see it's lovely. Now I tend to drop a Amarena cherry in there. That's just me. Kheer, white wine. Dry, only because that's what I drink. Also, white wine gives me instantaneous heartburn. Anybody else have that? I'm just gonna drop in an Amarena cherry because that's how I am. Amarena. Oh yeah. And then a little bit of creme de cassis, which is this beautiful thing. Creme de cassis. And there you have a kheer. Now, you can put a twist on it if you want. Or a twist in it, I mean, right? If you like. Kheer. Ooh, it's so good. Now, you have the Kheer Royale, which is the same drink, but with sparkling wine or champagne. So we're going to use Prosecco because the boys don't really drink champagne. Well, yes, they do. But do they want to drink an entire bottle of champagne? Hi-Toe says, maybe. Okay, Amarena cherry in the bottom, right? A little bit of Amarena cherry juice, perhaps. A little bit of cassis. A little bit of sparkle. That's lovely, isn't it? Little twist. Beautiful. Kheer Royale. Delicious. Brunch drinks. Who'd have think? Today we made eggs Florentine. We also made an eggs Benedict, more traditional. Potatoes Parisienne. Delicious balls of joy. Then we had Atlantic Beach citrus tart. Such a delight. We made 2. Then we made some incredible cocktails. We had the Icelandic Bloody Mary. We also made a kheer and a kheer royale for a beautiful summer brunch with the boy or the girl. We want to thank you guys so much for watching our show, for commenting, for supporting us. You say that we've brought you some distraction during this whole thing. Your comments brought all of us such joy. We can't even describe it to you. I mean, right, Leonard? Didn't you agree with me the other day? So stay tuned. Press subscribe. Apparently it helps with something if you press subscribe, and then you're also supposed to press the bell for some, I don't know what that is. But anyways, we want to thank you from Dinner Party Tonight. Good night. He waved. Oh, he waved.